What's the story, Raw fans? Tonight's topics on the Wrestle Story are Becky beats the clock.
Balor attempts the impossible.
Drew McIntyre destroys everyone in sight. All that and more coming up. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Wrestle Story, where we discuss all things wrestling, the legends of the past, the superstars of the present, and the trailblazers of the future. We stream every Monday night after Raw, every Tuesday after Smackdown, every Wednesday after NXT, and after every pay-per-view. We will also have a special live stream with our predictions before a pay-per-view, as well as any other news or events that come up
that are related to wrestling. So, it is Monday.
It is Monday.
We are talking about Monday Night Raw. Boy, was this a great day.
Well, for some people, it's a great day.
Well, for me, it was a great day.
Yes.
My day started great, okay? I woke up to the sight of breaking news, where they announced that the women will be main eventing WrestleMania. You should just never doubt me ever again, because I'm always right.
Well, here's what a lot of it has to do with the fact there's no pop in a lot of other storylines that are taking place right now. I mean, you had Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar, which is not really a pop.
That pretty much describes it.
You have Kofi Kingston. I'm assuming he's going to get a title shot.
But who knows at this point, because we're 2 weeks away from WrestleMania and he still doesn't have a match.
So, I guess the only option was the women's.
Yeah. I am very pleased and very happy. That means I get to sit through the whole show knowing that they're at the end and I get to watch them. The only way you can end that is with Becky walking away with the title. I mean, come on. Come on. You can't do it any other way. No way. If it's to be in the main event, Becky's going to walk out with the championship.
Well,
she has to.
Again, I think that the issue you have is Becky lost a lot of steam coming into WrestleMania. I thought she
did extremely well tonight.
Well, she had a little more pop tonight, but it still wasn't what she was, 2 months ago when this whole thing was going down, or 3 months ago when this whole thing was going down. So, it's one of those things that they're trying to bring the pop back, and so
I think they're doing it. I mean, I think trying to bring the pop back, I think they're doing it pretty decently. We saw all three of them tonight, and we will see all three of them again next week, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So with that being said, they opened the show with the announcement of Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda being the first ever women's main event at WrestleMania, which I like I said, I think is the coolest thing ever, and their match deserves to be in the main event spot. I know some people might disagree just due to the fact of the storyline, but all three of them deserve it.
Well, I think they deserve it. I think that the one issue you had right now is, and I think that's probably why Charlotte Flair got put in, because she is the one that's kind of the face of women's wrestling.
Well, and also she was meant to be in that match in the first place.
She was because she's the face of women's wrestling.
There was no Becky Lynch supposed to be involved there, because Becky Lynch was supposed to compete against Ronda Rousey at Survivor Series and then lose to her. And then Ronda Rousey would go on to fight Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But then Becky got her face broken and things changed, and then they had to figure out how to put Becky in there because Becky got popular.
Well, yeah.
Which just goes to show, it just goes to show that, you can have something set up as much as you want to set it up. Like if you were to do Charlotte versus Rousey at Mania, and that was the original plan. It just goes to show. I mean, Kofi's another great example. How in the split of an eye, in the blink of an eye, he wasn't even supposed to be in that match.
No.
And then Ali, brand new Ali, Mustafa Ali, they shortened his name, dumbest thing ever. I'm gonna still call him Mustafa Ali. He was had a concussion and couldn't compete. So they went, okay, next, all right, we got to throw somebody else in here. So Kofi Kingston happened to be the guy. And then overnight, he became a flipping rock star, and people loved him.
Well, because he was due his push, I think it's a lot of it. A lot of people feel that he needs to have the push.
And so it's like,
when you...
anything can happen, which is crazy to me. Because, and especially, I mean, with Becky Lynch, she's come like such a long way from last year's WrestleMania. Last year, she was on the pre-show of WrestleMania. And this year, she's main eventing it. Which says a lot about how much she's grown in a year and how she has developed her character more. And it's crazy to me, like, looking at it, where she was on the pre-show last year to now main eventing.
Well, it is, and it does say a lot, but, I mean, right now, I think that you have a lot of weak storylines. Not that they couldn't have had this storyline go and be a main event, but right now there's a lot of weak storylines. And so if the women were going to main event a WrestleMania or main event a pay-per-view, and now's the time, because right now there's a lot of weak stuff out there. And
agreed.
Outside of the Kofi Kingston thing, where's the pop coming from? I don't feel it from the Triple H Batista deal.
Not really. I mean, there's some elements where I'm like, oh, cool. Can't wait to see that match. And now I'm even, from my standpoint, I'm a little bit more invested into it because there are more high stakes in the match, and I don't know what they're going to do at all.
Well, there are, but I mean, Triple H is about due to retire, so it's got to be close. To like hanging up his tights for boots or
hanging up
whatever
his
he wants
boots.
to hang up.
What the buckets are you talking about, man? Hanging up his tights. He's a dancer now.
Hey,
I wear tights.
Don't you watch wrestling? They wear tights.
No, but
singlets.
But Triple H wears boots. What do you even?
Whatever.
Jeez, Dad.
So they need to, he's about due to hang it up. I mean.
Well, see, that's where I'm like, I don't know. Are they gonna put Batista over? They're trying to make Batista look. Batista's supposed to be the heel in this situation. So I'm like, but the fans want to see Batista win, though.
Why do you bring him back to have him
say it's his last match?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just don't think they do that.
I don't know. So, I mean, for me, I don't know who's winning. I guess I have a week to think about it because next week is our prediction video because WrestleMania is not this weekend but next weekend.
Yes.
Crazy! I can't wait. So anyways, Raw. They open up the show with Ronda Rousey. Well, they opened up the show with the announcement. And then they have Ronda Rousey come out because they are doing a Beat the Clock challenge, all three women, against the Riott Squad. So we have Ronda Rousey who comes out, and she gets on the mic, and she says, all I have to say is, you're welcome. And she drops the mic. And then she, goes to the corner of the ring like she's going to get ready. And then she walks back over, and she picks the mic back up and says, actually, I have one more thing to say. And she goes on to say, I will beat both, essentially, she says, I will beat both of your poster children for your company, and I will walk out the women's champion. And she drops the mic again. Then she goes back to the mic. Once again, this is the dumbest promo I've ever seen in my life. It made her look real dumb. She picks up the mic one last time to ask, what even is a Beat the Clock challenge? I've never heard of it. So I guess just let's get this started, but I don't have a clue what this is. And then she drops the mic again, and then the Riott Squad comes out, and then Becky Lynch comes out, and she says, shut your face. You would not even be big and even be talked about right now. This match wouldn't even be talked about if I was not in it, because the people like me more than they like you, and I'm the reason that you're cool. And, Ronda Rousey. This is where you were like, was this intentional, or did she legitimately screw up that promo?
Well, that's what I don't know, because
it was so dumb.
Well, it was dumb, but with everybody criticizing Ronda Rousey for her promos and things like that.
Because they're terrible.
Well, they're not good, but unless she's mad and just letting it fly. But I wonder if they didn't plan this so everybody can go, yeah, that was just a terrible promo. I just can't believe that she did that.
I watched
so,
it,
you know,
and through the rest
I don't
of the
know
evening,
if it was part of the
it was like,
actual show or if that was like her just messing up. And so, yeah, unless WWE comes out and says, you know, that was like her screw up or that was just the plan, we'll never know.
I don't know, man. It was kind of dumb, though. It made her look dumb.
It did.
So then Charlotte comes out. She tells them both to shut up. And that she is the main event. She's been the main event for 7 years, whether people knew it or not. She made the division. She's the backbone of the division. And it's a regular spiel about, you know, she has the women's division. And then we get the Beat the Clock challenge. So we have Ronda Rousey versus Sarah Logan. And that match was over in 1 minute and 25 seconds. What'd you think?
Well, I didn't understand this whole concept with the whole Beat the Clock challenge.
Well, there were no stakes in it in the end.
Well, but they're all wrestling different people. So, you know, based on what we know, Ruby Riott has gotten more of a push than the other two in the Riott squad.
Uh-huh.
So you would sit there and go, okay, she's probably the tougher of the three.
Mm-hmm. Well, looking at the matchups, when they first showed them, I was like, all right, Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan, she's going to win that one, obviously. Charlotte Flair versus Ruby Riott will be decent, I suppose. You know, if they had an actual match, it'd be kind of cool. But, you know, it's going to be a quick little thing. So it wasn't going to be much. And then Ronda Rousey and Sarah Logan, I was expecting Ronda Rousey to take her out in 0.25 seconds. So, you know, I saw the matchups and was like, cool, Becky Lynch has got a chance. So 1 minute and 25 seconds was the time to beat. Charlotte versus Ruby Riott was next, and she did not beat the clock. She put her in the figure 8, and she was this close. But then time ran out. She was like, seriously? And so, she did not win. And then we have Becky versus Liv Morgan, and she beat the clock by 7 seconds. There were 7 seconds left. You did the math, I think, to figure out what the actual time was. I did not. So, she beat it by 7 seconds, and she won the Beat the Clock challenge. What the Beat the Clock challenge was for, nobody knows.
I think it was a time killer.
I think what they were trying to do was just show, like, who's superior in that instance.
Well, I don't know.
But that's about it. Because there weren't any stakes in it. Like, the match that they're going to have next week has more stakes in it than this match did.
Well, again, I don't know how you can determine who's superior and who isn't when they're wrestling 3 different people.
Well, that's what a Beat the Clock challenge is.
Well, I get that, but when you wrestle 3 different people, you're not wrestling the same people, the same quality, and it just doesn't work out. I mean, didn't understand the whole concept.
So we're left with that. Becky's in the ring, and she's woohoo. And then we go to commercial, and we come back, and we have Finn Balor. Finn Balor versus what is supposed to be Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush.
Yes.
And this match is to determine whether or not Finn Balor goes on to WrestleMania to fight for the IC title. Now, big twist. There was no Lio Rush in this match. They put in Jinder Mahal instead. And again, I question, how does Lio Rush have the power to do that? Say, I am not wrestling. I'm putting Jinder Mahal in my place. I don't understand it. There was a lot of, I'm going to make this match on the fly this evening.
There seems to be a lot of wrestlers that can.
Apparently Lio Rush and Alexa Bliss, and
except for Kofi Kingston, he can't do that.
I know. I wanted to tweet that out so bad. I was very close to tweeting. I don't know why I didn't, but I should have put out a tweet because I was this close to doing it, where I said, so Lio Rush can decide when he does and does not wrestle. Alexa Bliss can put people in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and Kofi can't just declare himself in the WWE Championship match. Making it sense to you at all?
Alexa Bliss made a match between No Way Jose and
Elias
last
week.
So,
okay. Made no sense to me whatsoever. So then
maybe that's how they're gonna get Kofi in against Daniel Bryan.
He just declares himself.
No, Alexa Bliss has a moment of bliss, and she goes, "Oh,
that's only on Raw, though."
Okay, but you could do something at the pay-per-view.
I mean, maybe
she's the host.
They could, I guess.
You know,
again, I'd question it very highly because Alexa Bliss has that power. But you know,
she has the power.
She might as well be the GM because they treat her like she's the GM.
Yeah, so you know.
Yes. So we have Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley and Jinder Mahal, and Finn Balor ends up getting the pin over Bobby Lashley. No, that's an absolute lie. He got the pin over Jinder Mahal. So Bobby Lashley was not even in the decision of him going into the match at WrestleMania. So he was a little angry after that. And then he attacked the Singh brothers and Jinder Mahal. And
he destroyed him.
Yeah. Lucky Leo Rush was not in the path of him, so he didn't get destroyed. I don't know where he was.
Nobody knows.
I think he was knocked out outside the ring, because I think Finn Balor jumped on him. But
yeah, I think he was.
I could be wrong. So, you know, Leo Rush didn't get destroyed this week like he did last week by Braun Strowman, which is good for him, I guess. Recovering, you know.
Well, yeah.
So, Finn gets the win. So he goes to WrestleMania for the IC title. So there is another match added to the list. Now, the next question is, do we see Demon Finn Balor? Because they're advertising for it. There's a t-shirt that has Demon Finn Balor on it in the very lower corner. It's a WrestleMania t-shirt that I think you'll be able to get at the event, I think. And it has everybody on it. It has the women in the center and then everybody else who's on the show. It says WrestleMania, and then down in the lower hand corner, you see there's Finn Balor. Demon Finn Balor.
They are advertising for it, but I haven't seen any they haven't given a reason for the demon to come out.
Other than WrestleMania. I mean, other than him just saying, all right, it's WrestleMania, so I'm going to pull out the big, you know, the paint and stuff. Because why not?
So, I don't know.
I don't either. Because I thought they were going to do something different with it and not just have him, like, in a match on Raw to determine whether or not he goes in when he doesn't even pin.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know how they're gonna get why they're gonna bring the demon back.
I thought they were gonna do something like, oh well, I can't beat Bobby Lashley on my own, so I'm gonna call upon the demon, and then the demon comes and like kills him.
Yeah,
that's what I thought they were.
I would think you would need to have a reason to bring the demon back, but that they haven't like created a storyline where there's a reason the demon's coming back.
So I mean, maybe not. We'll see. But I think it's very odd that they're advertising for it. Just like it's very odd that they had on the side of a truck, I think this is on Wrestling Inc.'s Twitter, that they had they had a picture that fans sent in or that they took themselves when they were there of the side of one of the big trucks, and it had the Undertaker on it for WrestleMania.
Yeah. And maybe some of that's just to throw people off.
I mean, maybe it is. I don't know, but it's very odd, especially if they're putting him on T-shirts and stuff. It would make sense for him to be there, right? You wouldn't put it on T-shirts and then have people go like, "What? There was no Finn Balor demon dude
Who
there."
knows?
I don't know. Makes no sense to me. So hopefully we see. I'm hoping we see Demon Finn Balor personally because I like Demon Finn Balor. So next we have Elias. Elias and his wonderful promos of New York.
Yes. Why they had him in New York?
I'd much rather have seen him on TV. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know why he was in New York.
WrestleMania isn't even in New York. It's in New Jersey.
Yes.
Dave LaGreca. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Because I did not call it in.
Of Busted Open on SiriusXM.
Yeah, Dave LaGreca on SiriusXM. Busted Open. Listen to him every day.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know why they would have.
It was Elias. Essentially, all this promo was Elias in New York talking about how great his performance was going to be, and then he had some guy, some guy with a guitar came up to him and like started playing. And he was like, "Can you even sing? I'm a solo act. What do you know?" And then the guy like walked away, and then he just like continued to strum his guitar, and I was like, that was like the worst Elias promo I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But they had him in a bad spot. I don't know why they had him out there.
They had them multiple times in the evening, which man.
Yeah, it didn't make a whole lot
You
of sense.
should have been there in the ring recapping what just happened in song, man.
Yeah.
That would have been so much better.
Yep.
So, that happened. Then we have Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the Revival. For
the 937th time since Aleister Black and Ricochet have moved up to
the main
Raw.
roster. Yeah. Guess who won?
Not the Revival, because it's not a tag team match or a title match, so therefore they win. Or lose, sorry. They lose. The Revival lost.
No. Therefore they win. We're trying to throw our viewers off, man. Trying to give them a false sense of hope. What? I don't think the Revival's ever going to win. They're going to lose their championships at WrestleMania. It's pretty obvious.
I don't think they'll lose just because it looks obvious that they're going to lose. What they've done with them, I have no idea. They give them the titles, and then there's no title matches, except for, I think they've had one title defense since...
And that was at Fastlane.
Yeah.
And they retained. So, right now, okay, so Aleister Black and Ricochet end up getting the win, obviously. And so, they don't have any of the tag team matches set up right now, like for any of them. They don't have the SmackDown tag team champs set up, they don't have the Raw tag team champs set up in a match, and they don't have the women's tag belts in a match. But they're going with them somewhere, and I think those will be announced either, sometime over the next week or next week.
I think the women's one is pretty obvious where it's going.
I would agree so,
you're
gonna
too. You're going to have Bayley and Sasha, and then you're going to have...
Nia and Tamina.
You're going to have the Iconics.
And then the Divas.
And then you're going to have...
Natalya and Beth Phoenix.
Yes.
Pretty obvious.
I think
we'll
those
talk
have been
about...
4 teams that are in.
We'll talk about that in a minute, because we're almost there. But to me, it makes most sense. You do Aleister Black and Ricochet versus the Revival. I mean, you could throw somebody else in there if you wanted to, but I think just them on their own would be okay. So, I mean, that match almost seems really obvious.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now, the weird thing is, if they were going to put Roode and Gable in there, I would not like that, because they have not been showing them on TV recently. And they haven't been involved in anything, like, since Fastlane. So, I wouldn't want to see them added, so I'd rather just have them then. But I wouldn't be shocked if they added them in there.
Yeah.
And then for SmackDown, it looks as if the Usos and the Hardys would go at it. And then potentially 2 other teams, like the Bar and somebody else, the New Day or something.
Yeah.
Added into that. So, I mean, it's pretty obvious where they're going with the tag team matches. It's just a matter of them announcing them before WrestleMania.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not going to be a surprise or anything like that. It's going to be pretty obvious as to who and what's going to be, or, what it's going to be about.
I think it's crazy. I said this earlier, but it's crazy that there's, like less than 2 weeks till WrestleMania, in my mind. Because I feel like we've been talking about it so much. And then, come Sunday, it's a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's, soon. And then come Wednesday, I'll be like, oh my gosh! TakeOver's on Friday! And then we have the Hall of Fame, and then it's WrestleMania, and it'll be exciting.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Nevertheless. I can't wait.
It'll be exciting.
So Aleister Black and Ricochet get the win. Then we have Drew McIntyre, who comes out. He calls out Roman Reigns and wants to get his answer from last week when he called out Roman Reigns and said, hey, I want a match with you at WrestleMania. Accept or not accept. Let me know. So he calls him out, talks about his family and stuff. And then Roman Reigns comes out and he says, I accept. But don't you ever. This is not coming from me, Roman Reigns. This is coming from Joe. Again, using that a lot. Don't you ever talk about my wife and my kids ever again. And then he punches him in the mouth. And I literally, so bad, I was sitting there cracking jokes because of the terrible Ronda Rousey promo from earlier. I was sitting there cracking jokes. And he, punches him. And then I was like, oh, wait. He, picks up the mic again or whatever. I was making jokes about how if he picked up the mic again and then was like, oh, wait, I screwed this up. I forgot to say this. I would have laughed because it would have been really funny.
Well, I didn't understand this promo. I mean, again, it's another promo that's not needed. It was unnecessary for anything. You already knew that Roman Reigns is going to wrestle
You knew he was going to accept it, but he had to come out and accept it because he called him out last week on Raw when he wasn't there, so he had to come out and accept it.
The way they did it was, again...
Drew McIntyre went on and on and on and on and on. Drew McIntyre literally could have just come out and been like, I want to know your answer, and then Roman Reigns comes out, and he's like, yeah. And then they can like beat each other up. But again, Drew McIntyre went on for.
Well, that's just it. I mean, it wasn't needed. It doesn't have to happen this way. They don't have to draw these out. You know, bring the guys out. Do you accept or not? Yes. Okay, we're going to punch each other in the face, beat each other up, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. Like, they spend 10 minutes having these guys do nothing. And I think this is the one thing that's hurting the WWE right now is the fact that they do it this way. Yeah. Because, you know... When you have, when nobody is it's when they're losing interest over things, and then they do this and draw something out for like forever. It's tough for people to sit here and go, okay, I want to come back and watch this again. Yeah. Because you're going to give me the same storyline next week. I want to come back and watch again. Yeah. And it's taken away from. The story, like especially when you could create more storylines. We've talked about this before. They got plenty of people on the roster. If all you're going to do is bring these guys out for something like this, have it be like a short 1 or 2 minute deal, and then bring out somebody that hasn't been on TV in a while. Yeah. And I think they would get a lot more out of it doing it that way. Agreed. So then we have Dean Ambrose in the back when meeting up with. Drew McIntyre. Oh yeah, I forgot that was in this segment. Challenging. Oh, I don't know why I skipped over that. I was about ready to go to the match. I'm a ding dong sometimes. So they had them in the back, and he challenged Drew McIntyre and
to a last man standing match for later in the evening. Again, you know that Dean is going to get creamed.
Well, again,
by Drew.
We just watched this last week.
Well, did we? Was it a last man standing match? It was a last man standing match? No, it wasn't.
No, it was a match last week.
Oh, it's a Falls Count Anywhere match is what it was.
Why are they doing this again? I mean, if
Nope. This was not last week. This was 2 weeks ago.
Well, 2 weeks ago, whatever.
Last week it was Seth Rollins who got creamed.
Who cares? Whenever it was.
It was one of the members of the Shield. Just getting your facts right, Dad. It was 2 weeks ago.
Okay, but the fact is you saw the match a couple weeks ago. Why are we doing it again?
I don't know. I don't have a logical answer.
And it was the same result.
Dean Ambrose getting creamed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So why do it?
Because they're still trying to put Dean Ambrose on TV?
If you're trying to draw,
until his contract's
okay,
up?
but you could do other storylines and things like that that don't
but that's
have the
one
same
that they're going
thing.
with, and they're not going to start a new storyline with Dean if he's leaving in like 2 weeks.
Okay, then why are you putting Drew McIntyre in this situation?
Because that's what they were doing before. And so, for the benefit of Dean, they're not going to start a new storyline with him that they won't be able to finish because he's going to be leaving.
Dean Ambrose wasn't in a storyline until the last couple weeks. He was just kind of wrestling anybody and being a clown.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't. He's being a clown.
Yes, he was. He was in a storyline with them because they did the Shield thing, and that was back at Fastlane like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay. Or 4 weeks ago that they started that storyline with them when Roman Reigns made his return.
But leading up to that, he was just kind of everywhere.
No, he wasn't. But then they put him in a storyline, which is what I'm saying. They're not going to stop this one storyline with him. They're going to keep doing it until his contract is up because he's leaving.
Why? You could just
because they're not going to start him in a new storyline. It makes no sense to start him in a new storyline. If you're going to use him,
just have him wrestle Rey Mysterio. Well, and next week he wrestles Andrade. And then the week after that he wrestles No Way Jose.
Well, nobody wants to see that.
Does anybody want to see him wrestle Drew McIntyre?
I'd much rather see him wrestle Drew McIntyre
when you know the result.
I don't care. I'd much rather see him wrestle Drew McIntyre in these crazy matches in his last couple of times in the ring than watch him go out there and wrestle Rey Mysterio and throw him around in the ring and then have Rey Mysterio get the upper hand on him.
Doesn't matter.
Or Andrade. Or No Way Jose. No Way Jose is a lame opponent. Okay, I'm sorry. He is. In that situation, Dean Ambrose should 100% win. But I don't think they would put him over if he's leaving.
Okay.
That's the issue. I'd much rather see him get beaten by Drew McIntyre in a last man standing match.
Yeah,
in some other type of match that's crazy and he does crazy things than watch him in a match with Rey Mysterio. I'm sorry.
Because you have fans that want to sit here and watch the same thing over and over again.
In this instance, I would.
Okay.
Because I don't want to see the other thing.
All right.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'd rather watch something else.
Okay. Again, you can have that opinion. But I'm just saying I'd much rather watch him in a crazy, off-the-walls, he's going to kill himself match against Drew McIntyre that, yes, we may have seen 2 weeks ago. But I'd much rather see that than see him put in some lame-o match against Rey Mysterio or Andrade. No shade to them because they are amazing competitors. I just don't feel that they should be having matches with Dean Ambrose.
All right, well, they just repeated the story, the same thing. So then we have Sasha Banks versus Natalya in a singles match. Why? I don't know.
Because we did see this.
It seems like we've seen. Well, we saw this last week.
We saw this last week, but it was interrupted by Nia and Tamina, and lo and behold, yet again, it was interrupted by Nia and Tamina.
We saw Bayley a couple weeks ago in a singles match, didn't we?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this?
Because they don't have any tag teams.
What do you mean they don't have any tag teams?
They don't have any tag teams that they want to use right now.
Okay, you have the Riott Squad. You have the.
Well, they're too busy facing Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte. I mean, I don't know.
You have plenty of tag teams there that you could use to do a tag team, and the way they've done this is beyond. I mean, again, the storyline. Why is it Sasha and versus Natalya? Why don't we have a tag team with Sasha and Bayley against Natalya and Beth Phoenix?
Because they're saving that for WrestleMania. Because that's going to be Beth Phoenix's first match back.
Okay, then have Sasha and Bayley face Nia and Tamina. Have Sasha and Bayley face, anybody. Because this is like the third or fourth week they've done this, and it's kind of the same result. Nia and Tamina interfere.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be... Well, Sasha Banks went to her Twitter today to say... she put up a tweet and she said something along the lines of, I'm so excited, I was just told some amazing news. And so people were like, oh, she gonna announce something on Raw? Because that'll be crazy. And she didn't. But I'm curious to see what that amazing news is.
Yeah, who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
But anyways, the match ended in a disqualification. Well, so actually, sorry, going back. I thought what that amazing news was going to be that she was going to be facing Beth Phoenix tonight on Raw.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, Sasha versus Beth Phoenix because we saw Sasha versus Natalya last week. No, it was Natalya again. But the match ends in a disqualification after Nia and Tamina come out and attack them. And then Beth Phoenix cleans house and she hits the Glam Slam on Tamina, which, dude, and she almost... not AA'd because that's John Cena's move, but like Samoan drop thing. She almost did that to Nia, and then she was kicked in the face by Tamina. But she lifted her up on her shoulders, which not many people can do with Nia Jax. So that was pretty cool. She's really strong.
Yeah, she destroyed both.
She destroyed Tamina. Tamina was dropped on her face.
And then Nia Jax, if you saw when she destroyed Tamina, Nia Jax's face was like, I can't believe she just did that.
So, yeah, that I'm going to tell you right now, that'll be a really, really, really good match at WrestleMania when they... I can't wait to see her hit that on more people, personally.
Yeah.
So, DQ, Nia and Tamina got involved. Beth Phoenix cleaned house. Then we go to the Hart Foundation Hall of Fame announcement video. I knew they were going to go in because this was talked about as one of the first rumored guys going in, and I just kind of stuck with it and was like, Hart Foundation has to go in. Doesn't make sense for them not to. It doesn't make sense for them not to. So, I mean... The
only thing I don't understand is, if they're going in as the Hart Foundation, why don't they have, like, the entire Hart Foundation? I understand...
I agree with that.
I understand...
if they were going to put them in, it should have been Bret Hart, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the British Bulldog, Brian Pillman, Owen Hart. Am I missing anybody?
Jimmy Hart was a big part of it for a while.
I mean, yeah, Jimmy Hart too, but he was there in the beginning. But if they're going off of the Hart Foundation from, like, the Attitude Era, when they were all, like, a faction, like the X.
Yeah. And I understand
Bulldog, Pillman,
Owen Hart will probably never go in.
Owen Hart should all.
Owen Hart's never going to go in. Not because of WWE. It's going to be because I've read reports where his wife doesn't want him to go in. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But
never say never. He always could, potentially one day go in. Maybe someone will talk some sense into her. Just be like, dude, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him. And it just kind of cements his legacy, I mean, the way his death happened, was very unfortunate and tragic. But, it cements his legacy.
Yeah.
So it would be cool to see him go in. So, I definitely think if they were going to put them in, they should have.
I thought it was cool.
Well, the reports first going into it were that Jimmy Hart was going to go in with them. And so I was kind of shocked to see that Jimmy Hart was not included in that.
Yeah.
Just due to the fact that it was reported.
Yeah.
That is what was going to happen.
I thought it was cool that, they had Natalya was still in the ring when all this was being announced, and
she was watching it and she was crying, and
yeah.
I got goosebumps, man. I was sitting there watching it and I was like, ooh. It was
pretty cool.
It was cool. It was really cool. I got goosebumps and I was like, oh man, that was cool. Like, yeah. Just to see her sitting in the ring, kind of taking it all in it was really cool.
So then we have a Kurt Angle interview, and Baron Corbin interrupts him. He is not wrestling Baron Corbin at WrestleMania.
Can't at this point. And if they do it, they're dumb. That's all I gotta say on that.
They're not gonna do it. He's gonna wrestle somebody else.
It has to be John Cena.
Well, they're hyping this up too much, so I don't know who he's gonna wrestle.
It has to be John Cena. Who else do you put in to face him at WrestleMania? Two people. Give me two people who he could wrestle.
I don't know. What's the point of having him wrestle John Cena?
Because he was John Cena's first. They had one of the greatest rivalries of the 2000 scene ever.
Okay, but that was a younger Kurt Angle, and right now you see the skills are not
I like the
fair.
idea of John Cena coming out saying, hey, you were my first match, I want to be your last, and then they have their match.
Well, that might be what they end up doing. Because
that makes a lot of sense to me, and it would be more heartfelt than freaking Baron Corbin.
So then we have a Mona Bliss, Braun Strowman with
Colin Jost and Michael Shea. I took the time to actually look up their names because before I just didn't care. I'm just being real. I didn't care.
Well,
I just called them the SNL guys.
I didn't care either, and
because I never took the time to look up their names.
I don't like the way. I don't like this whole thing that they're doing with Braun Strowman. But I thought this segment was pretty decent.
For the most part, yes, I did too. I was laughing at it because it was the SNL guys on Satellite was kind of terrible. The jokes they were making were kind of terrible. So I was laughing at it being bad. So Alexa, she comes out and she says, you know what? Ever since I became host of WrestleMania, great things have been happening. Like the women main eventing WrestleMania. And the crowd they were just like, okay. And I said, you know what? Ever since you became host of WrestleMania, your hair has gotten worse. And I said this to my mom, who was in the kitchen, when we were watching this. I said, ever since she became the host of WrestleMania, her hair has gotten worse. Her hair was absolutely terrible tonight. Last week, it looked great. It was in a high ponytail, and it was bumped in the front, and I loved it. And this week, her hair looked like trash. So, you might think the women are main eventing because of you, but your hair sure isn't benefiting from, you main event, or you being the host.
Yeah, because that's what I was looking at, was her hair.
I was looking at her hair, and it was hideous. I was like, I'm sorry, man, but it is so bad. Your hair was so much better last week. So then she brings up Braun Strowman and asks him a few questions. She's like, well, I got a couple questions for you, and, did you destroy Vince McMahon's limo? I did. And then she asked him another question about destroying something. I don't remember what it was. I did. And then she asked him one more question, and he's like, I did. I did all those things. But when those fools at SNL gave me a car, and I destroyed it, it felt good. Now I want to destroy Michael J, yeah. I want to destroy Michael Che's pasty white face. And, so then they come on via satellite. I would have liked it a lot better if they were there in person, personally.
Yeah.
It would have been cooler.
Better.
You know? Braun Strowman would have been like, contain yourself. Save it for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Otherwise, they're going to sue me.
I thought this was a decent promo and interview. I thought it was a decent thing to do.
So then the SNL guys go on to say, you know, on the satellite thing, they're like, oh, we respected you, Braun, but you crossed the line. And then Braun said in it, he goes, Colin, you said on Instagram the other week, you put up a post about me and said, we need to end this financially, mentally, or physically. And I choose the third one. And then he goes on to say, he starts off by just saying, I want Colin put in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah.
And then the guys are going back and forth on stage, or on the satellite. And the one is like, whoa, I'm not doing this if you're not doing this, man. We're both doing it. And so then Braun is like, okay, fine. Both of you can be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And then he turns to Alexa and goes, Alexa, make it official. And she's like, oh, Braun, I can't do that. That would mean they'd just get destroyed. And then she goes, who am I kidding? Oh, it's official. Both of them are in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And I'm standing there going, what?
She just made a match. It's okay. Or put people into a match.
Well, first off, I was like,
it's not the first time it's happened.
All right. 2 spots in that could be taken up by actual wrestlers are taken up by fools from SNL.
Problem is the actual wrestlers are all in something else.
So, cool. And then she just made a match. She just put people in a match. And I was like, since when does she have the power to do this?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's just, you know, kind of the way it's set up.
I don't get it. I don't understand how she can make matches. How she can put people in matches. How let alone she is the host of WrestleMania.
Yeah. I don't know.
Elias should be the host. Elias should be making matches. But he's the musical guest.
No, they just need the GM to be making matches.
They don't have a GM, so they got to put Alexa in there.
I mean, they need to stop having this. I'm going to throw this match together.
Stephanie McMahon is supposed to be making matches. Triple H is supposed to be making matches, but he's dealing with, give me what I want, Batista. And Vince is ruining matches, so don't even put him in the equation. Shane is off being a heel with Miz or whatever, picking a fight with him. Stephanie is the only logical choice to make matches. And so, where is she? Why is she not making these matches?
I don't know, but they need to have a GM or something. Someone is in charge.
Well, they took all GMs out because it's the McMahon era, and it's run by them now. And they fired Paige. But the fact is that, you know, this is part of why... they fired Baron Corbin or Kurt Angle or whoever the buckets was the GM on Raw.
Okay, but this is part of why you have the people that are, like, you know, wrestling fans have kind of been turned off by WWE recently. Because there's no storylines. You just have people like stepping up and going, well, we're going to make this match. We're going to make that match. And you're going to be in this match. And it turns people off. People don't like seeing that. They want to see a storyline. Mm-hmm. And they haven't created these storylines. And when they do create a storyline, you see repetition so much that the storyline's dead, like in a matter of minutes. And, you know, they need to change things up. So now we have the...
Sasha and Bayley promo backstage.
Yes.
Well, I guess it's an interview, really. And the Charlie, she asks them, you know, well, what are you going to do? You've got teams coming at you from all directions. And Sasha looks really mean. And she's like, you know what? We said we'd take everybody on from any and every direction, from any brand, anywhere. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. And then they walk away. Yeah. Or no, she said that's exactly what we're going to do at WrestleMania. And so then they all walk away. And I was waiting for later in the evening them to announce the match of Beth Phoenix, Natalya versus Nia and Tamina versus Sasha and Bayley versus the Iconics. I was waiting for them to do that. But then they didn't. But you know that's the direction they're headed. And then I got to thinking. Be announced tomorrow night. And then I got to thinking, I said, what if Sasha and Bayley just did like an open challenge? And however many women's tag teams show up is as many as they fight. I mean, they could also do that, but it makes more sense to do the 4.
Yeah.
But you never know, because, you never know.
So then we have
Baron Corbin?
No, we have Elias again in New York City.
We do have Elias again?
Yeah.
I missed that, apparently.
He was at MSG talking outside of there, and like, again, it was
Madison
not much to
Square
it.
Garden.
So then we have Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews.
Baron Corbin gets the win.
Again, it's just kind of a match where Baron Corbin gets out there.
And
I think they're setting this up for the Kurt Angle thing where they're going to switch up and Baron Corbin's not going to be the one that's going to wrestle. I mean, that's just my opinion. So Corbin gets the win. Then they announce that Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch will take on the Riott Squad next week. The only stipulation is they cannot fight each other.
They can't turn on each other, otherwise their opportunity for WrestleMania, whoever turns on each other, so like Charlotte turns on Becky or whatever and like punches her, or whatever.
Yeah.
She will get taken out of the WrestleMania main event match. So then it'll just be Becky versus Ronda Rousey. So that makes things a little more interesting. They can't touch each other.
Well, there's gonna be a lot of I felt I was on the edge of just like knocking you out, and they're gonna,
I feel like it'll really just be Ronda Rousey.
They're gonna destroy the Riott Squad, or here's what I think's gonna happen: they're either gonna destroy the Riott Squad, and it's gonna be over quick, or the Riott Squad's gonna upset them because they can't get along.
Possible.
That's just
a possibility.
I
I would assume they're going to go over, though, because Ronda Rousey's never lost, and I don't see her losing up until WrestleMania.
Well, I don't understand the whole point of this match. Again, it's
more stipulation. Next week is the go-home show for WrestleMania.
Okay, but we just watched...
And I don't understand, again, it goes along with what you just said, I don't get why they're doing this match.
We just watched the Riott Squad get beat up individually by them.
I don't get why they would do this on the go-home show to WrestleMania, though.
Who knows? I don't know.
It's probably just to get them all on Raw, and then I'm assuming we'd probably see Becky and Charlotte on SmackDown the next night.
Maybe.
I would assume.
So then we have a Seth Rollins promo. And
oh boy, this was long.
It was a long promo, kind of pointless because we all knew what was going to happen.
Seth came out to talk about his title match, and then Paul Heyman came out, which I called. I said, "Hey, Paul Heyman! Paul Heyman's going to come out here in just a second because Brock Lesnar's not here."
Well, it's the way they do it all the time. So
and then he said, "Thank you for letting me know that the match is now a handicap match. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins versus the WWE Universe," because he's talking about how the WWE Universe and Seth Rollins are a team, and they're going to go into WrestleMania and they're going to burn the house down and whatever. And then Heyman, he's like, "Great match, Mr. Rollins. You still wouldn't win, even if it was all of you against Brock Lesnar." And then Heyman walks up the ramp. This was the best part of this promo, by far. I thought it was so funny. Heyman walks up the ramp, and Seth Rollins then chases after him. And Paul Heyman just, like, drops to the floor. It was the funniest thing ever. I died laughing. And before that, Paul Heyman was talking about how, everybody's always like, someone needs to answer my prayers, or this, that, and the other thing, and, we need Seth Rollins to win. And so then Seth comes up and chases behind him and tells him, "I'm here to answer the prayers because I'm winning at WrestleMania. And I'm taking that championship off Brock Lesnar, and I'm going to bring it back to Raw where it belongs."
Yeah, so, again, this was a pointless... It was another 10 or 15 minutes of nothing. It didn't add to the storyline, right?
Because Brock Lesnar talked.
Nothing changed.
You can't do anything when you don't have the other guy in the match.
Well, even if you do,
and Brock Lesnar doesn't talk anyways, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay, so again, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's
but nobody
just a lot
cares
of talking.
about this match.
And so this is where this is why I've said you could use other characters in these other more of their talent in situations where like this, where you don't do these promos that last 10, 15 minutes, because just, within the last couple weeks, he said the same thing on another promo. Mm-hmm. Why are we doing this again? It's pointless. And so you killed 10 or 15 minutes with this promo. For what?
Yeah, who knows? So, with that being said, I want to talk about the match order, I guess, of what your order would be. once we're done talking about Raw, because we're almost done. So before we hop off, I want to ask your opinion on order of big title matches, because I'm curious to hear your answer. So I'll talk about that in just a minute. But next we have Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe came from SmackDown to fight Kurt Angle for the second to last time on Raw. Next week will be his final match ever on Raw against Rey Mysterio, which was announced later in the evening. So Samoa Joe comes out and says, "You know what, Kurt? I got a different gift for you. You know, everybody's giving you gifts and telling you good luck, and your match at WrestleMania will be great. And I got a gift for you, and it's called sleep, because I'm going to put you to sleep." And the match goes on. Kurt Angle ends up winning, and I wasn't very shocked by this, just due to the fact it's Kurt Angle's farewell tour, so I'm assuming that he would win.
He's not going to lose going into WrestleMania.
No.
And he might not even lose at WrestleMania. No matter who he fights, he may not lose at WrestleMania. Again, this is a match.
Just to give him a feel-good moment, yeah, probably not.
This is a match that I don't know that you really needed to have. I understand what they're doing.
He's going to be on everything.
Well, they're giving everybody a chance to see Kurt Angle for the last time while he was on this tour.
And he's going to be on SmackDown tomorrow for the very last time. He's facing AJ Styles tomorrow on SmackDown.
Yeah. So again, I don't know what.
And and like I said, they've done this a lot, or 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
I don't remember how long it's been. It's been a while, but I don't know.
And so it was just to give him a last couple of decent matches, I guess. For him going out, which, I mean, it's an extra match to add to the show, but it's not a great match, just because he's older and slower, and it's not super great.
So then we have Triple H come out after Kurt Angle beats Samoa Joe. Triple H comes out, has a letter in his pocket that he has trouble getting out, and he says this is a letter from Dave's
attorney, lawyer, whatever.
That basically
he said, I thought this was so funny because they made mention to the memes on Twitter of I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. And so he pulled out the letter, and then he says, "I'm going to read it." And I quote, "You'll give me what I want, what I really, really want. I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So give me what I want, what I really, really want. I wanna. And then he pulled out 3 pieces of paper. He was like, it just keeps going on with, I wanna. And he threw those papers on the ground, and then he was like, but ultimately, what he wants is me at WrestleMania, but he wants my career put on the line, or he does not show up. And so, what does he do? He gives him what he wants. And he says, I will put my career on the line because I want to get a hold of you in the ring, and I want to beat you up. And then he drops the mic and walks out of the ring.
Yep. Again, another match that you sit there and you watch, or another promo that you sit and watch, and you go, what's the point? Why was it necessary to have
The one redeeming quality was that he made mention to the memes on Twitter. That was it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's another pointless promo thing that they don't need. They could have put a match in there. They could have put EC3. They could have put Mojo Rawley. They could have put anybody in this spot to fill time.
They had to make higher stakes in the match. No holds barred. Triple H versus Batista.
Okay.
But now that his career is on the line, people are like, is Batista going to win?
Are they?
Or does Triple H's career
Are they really that interested in it that,
I am. I am now because they put a higher stakes in it. Before I was like, okay, meh. Triple H versus Batista, it'll be a good match. It'll be a good match because both of them are really good in the ring. But now I'm kind of curious to see what they do with it, because do they end Triple H's career right here and put Batista over, which is what the fans want? Or do they have Triple H take out Batista?
I don't know.
In his last
I don't
match?
know what they'll do, but they really need to take a look.
Which is again where I'm like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You're questioning. You're like, okay, well, it could go a couple different ways. Which is it gonna be?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So then Elias has his thing again in New York City. again.
This time a guy is stealing his guitar case.
Yeah.
Which is full of money.
I don't know why you do it. It's, you know, it would have been better having Elias in with the audience and just had him out there once. Or if he's going to tell a story, have him tell a story throughout the night. Then we have the announcement that Brock Lesnar will be on Raw next week.
Because you got to put him on the go-home show for WrestleMania,
well,
right?
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know the point, because if nothing happens, then why do we have to have Brock Lesnar on Raw?
Dumb.
Because,
well, I mean, at least Brock Lesnar's on Raw.
Yeah. Again, I don't understand why they have to come out and announce it.
Because they got to announce that he's going to be on Raw, because it's going to be a big deal, because he got to, you know...
Hey, Bendy.
Hello, Bendy. How are you? You know, so they got to announce it so then people know, so then they buy tickets.
Yeah.
To see Brock Lesnar once in a lifetime.
Because
you see him once and then you don't see him again for 20 years.
Yeah. Then we have the announcement that Kurt Angle will be wrestling Rey Mysterio next week.
Woo.
On his farewell tour. So I'm going to bet you that Kurt Angle wins.
Probably. Especially because it's, like I said, the go-home show to WrestleMania. So
yeah.
I don't see him losing going into that. Maybe Baron Corbin comes out and attacks him from behind after the fact. Maybe spice it up a bit. But I don't know.
No, because he's not going to fight Baron Corbin at the...
No, he's not. But
so,
they could make it sound more believable.
Well, I guess.
If he comes out and attacks him from behind, and then he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to beat you up at WrestleMania. But so then John Cena ends up coming out and being like, nee, nee,
yes.
nee, and then he fights him instead.
Yeah.
Do you like that rendition of his song? It was great.
Yeah.
Great.
Then we have the Dean Ambrose versus Drew McIntyre match, the match that we saw 2 weeks ago.
The last man standing match.
Again.
Long story short, Drew McIntyre stands victorious.
Yeah,
over Dean Ambrose after he hits the Claymore kick, and he stays down for the 10 count.
I don't understand this match. I don't understand the point of it. I don't understand why they did it. I don't understand. There's a lot of things I don't understand about it.
Thank you, Ben.
Amazing, Maven.
I know it was amazing, right?
I'm
a musical genius.
Yes. So, you know, this match just... It's a repeat of a couple weeks ago, and you have to wonder why.
Because, like I said, they don't want to start a new storyline with him. Bendy, I want to get your thoughts on this, okay? I'm curious. Because we had a debate a little bit ago on whether or not the Dean Ambrose-Drew McIntyre match makes any sense. We saw this 2 weeks ago. But you threw out that you said you don't want to see it again. You'd much rather see him face somebody like Rey Mysterio or Andrade or No Way Jose. And I was like, what? OMG, I was just going to type musical genius. See? It's because I am one. Makes sense.
Psychics.
So, you put up the argument that you wanted to see him face somebody else. I said the reason they're doing this is not to start a new storyline with anybody, because if he's leaving, it makes no sense to start a new storyline with anybody that they can't finish. So they're going off of the storyline that they already had previously been using, that they've been working with for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, again, I don't understand it, because it's the same thing. It's over and over again.
And I put up the argument and said, I don't want to see Dean Ambrose face Andrade or Rey Mysterio or No Way Jose. I would much rather see Dean Ambrose in a match against Drew McIntyre at high stakes that was something super crazy where Dean Ambrose was going to kill himself or something, jumping off of something. I'd much rather see that than watch Rey Mysterio versus Dean Ambrose. Woo, great match. Does it sound like a great match? No, not really. I don't care if I've seen this match 50 times. I would much rather see this than Dean Ambrose versus No Way Jose.
So you're telling me that you'd rather watch Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose even if you know the outcome? At least with No Way Jose or Rey Mysterio or Andrade or any of those other guys, you don't necessarily know the outcome.
If Dean Ambrose is leaving, then they're not going to put him over.
It's not about putting him over. It's just about having him win a match.
That's what I mean when I say put over. They're not going to have him win.
They might.
If he's leaving.
But he's not going to beat Drew McIntyre because right now they're trying to give Drew McIntyre a push.
Exactly.
I mean, so...
So, personally, I would much rather see the Dean Ambrose versus Drew McIntyre than a match against some nobody.
Well, yeah, because Rey Mysterio and Andrade and those guys are nobody.
That's not what I mean, but you know what I mean? Drew McIntyre is big right now. I'm not saying Rey Mysterio and Andrade aren't big right now, but, you know, they're like two different types of guys.
I don't know. It's the same thing over and over again, and it's...
Which I get.
Well,
but if he's leaving...
The thing is, that's why you have people that don't want to... that are getting tired.
I would rather just see the Shield. Agreed.
Well, if they're going to use them right.
But they're not going to because he's leaving. That's what people don't get.
But the thing is...
He's leaving, so they're not going to put him in a new storyline.
Okay, but...
That's the point I'm trying to get across.
You could do a storyline where he turns on them or does something like that. Not doing it the way they're doing it right now.
But then you have to build it up again.
Why?
Because that's the way that works.
You have 2 or 3 weeks to do it. You don't need to have 17 weeks of, like, building this up.
No, but you have Raw, and then you have Raw, okay? He's not going to be on Smackdown.
Why couldn't you put him on Smackdown? There's a lot of crossover anyway.
I mean, you could, but I don't know. It makes no sense to me to put him in a new storyline if he's just going to turn around and leave. Because then you've already started something that people may or may not be invested in, and then they're going to be like, oh, well, now you can't do that because he's leaving.
Well, you could do the storyline where...
And he's gone.
Okay, but you could do the storyline where he decides, okay, I need to step away because I've turned on my brothers, and so I cannot do this.
But then that doesn't go with his character, and it makes no sense.
Okay, but it may not make sense. It doesn't make sense what they're doing now, so at least that way it's a different storyline, a different twist.
I don't know. I just
right now,
I personally just don't think that
okay, when I saw the Dean Ambrose Drew McIntyre thing for tonight, I knew what was going to happen.
I did
You
too.
knew what was going to happen.
I knew Drew McIntyre was going to win because Dean Ambrose.
So you just as well write the storyline and say, okay, this is what it's going to be. I mean, there's no anticipation. There's no plot there. There's no shot of having some twist in there where Ambrose somehow miraculously wins. Because they're giving McIntyre a push. You know they're not going to do anything with Ambrose. And so you're stuck with knowing that, well, McIntyre's going to win the match. And there's not going to be any shock value to it.
No.
But which is part of the issue that WWE has right now.
It is part of the issue that they have, but I don't think they should start a new storyline, especially with Dean Ambrose, when they know he's leaving.
You could do a storyline in 2 weeks.
Or better yet, then just don't put him on TV.
Okay, well then don't put him on TV.
I mean, it makes... The issue I have with that is, like I said, you start a storyline with somebody. I understand you can do a storyline in 2 weeks, but can you start a storyline and end a storyline in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why couldn't you? You had the Shield come back together one last time, and then you see them together a couple more times, and then, then now
again,
they're
that was
not together again.
That was over the course of like 4 weeks.
And so, they started promoting the stuff within 4 weeks, but the whole thing wasn't within 4 weeks. They could do this easy. They could have Ambrose all of a sudden, decides, hey, I need to step away because, I'm not helping my brothers out. The Shield isn't working right, and I feel it's my fault, so it's time for me to move on. I mean, they could do some storyline like that.
I guess, but
the storyline they're doing now, everybody knows what's going to happen. McIntyre is going to win, so why keep doing it over and over again?
I don't know.
So then...
Is that it? Is that it for the show? Is that it for Raw?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered. Other than we have the other thing that we have is the Bellas have announced their retirement.
Yeah, the Bella twins are retiring.
Which
so sad.
Is not surprising. I mean,
wearing my Bella merch today.
They haven't been around for a while, so
no, they haven't. It was announced last week that Brie was retiring on Total Bellas. And then this week, on the new Total yesterday, the Total Bellas episode, the season finale, she announced that she was going to retire. She was just, traveling, and everything was getting the best of her, and so she said, just be done now, then.
Yes, definitely.
Cool.
Shock, shock, surprise, surprise. That's what they need to have. Shock, shock, surprise, surprise.
Both of them, they should go into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think that
I wouldn't be shocked
be in pretty quick,
if they are not in by next year.
Yeah, they'll be in pretty quick.
Within the next 2 years, they're going into the Hall of Fame. That's my thing right now. And watch. I was right about the women's main event. I'll be right about this.
Well, it's pretty obvious that they're going to go in. And they'll go in pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a lot for the women's division. They were 100% one of the, at least Nikki was, because when I was watching the women's division and stuff, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago or so, when they still had the Divas Championship, and, Nikki is the longest reigning Divas champion ever, and so it's really cool, and I watched her throughout that whole thing, and,
Mark it down. Maven has made a prediction. Yes, she has.
Yeah, write it down, people. Make a sign. And then, when they're in the Hall of Fame next year, I'll be like, I said that.
Yeah.
I was right. But, they were some of my favorites over the last 3 years or so.
Yeah.
And then Becky came along, and I was Becky. But I'm still really big fans of the Bellas. I got a lot of Bella stuff, so it's cool.
Yeah, they were kind of the ones when you started watching wrestling. They were your.
Yeah, they were the big ones, and now it's Becky.
Yeah.
So the one other thing I wanted to ask you, the one other thing, why are you rolling your eyes at me, Bendy? Why? Because I said Becky is now my number one? Excuse me? Is there a problem with that? Bendy, jeez. So my last question for you would be match card
Order?
I
have no idea.
For the big championship match. Then Becky came along and story's over.
Yes, definitely. I don't know because
I didn't see the thing with that is I didn't watch it's not that I didn't like Becky when she first started wrestling. Because that wasn't the case at all. In instances against Charlotte Flair, I was like, woohoo, Becky 100%. I hate Charlotte Flair. I respect Charlotte Flair. I don't like her, but I respect her. But, now Becky's like, woohoo, number one,
Yeah.
Before it was the Bellas, and now it's Becky.
Yeah.
So, times are changing, okay? Okay, Bendy? Get with it. Anyways, match card.
The match card, I don't know, because
now you have a sure shot the women are in the main event. It's been announced. They're not going to change it. The women are main eventing. So they can't do Brock Lesnar at the end, which would be dumb to begin with. And they can't do Kofi and Bryan.
Well, the match hasn't even been announced yet.
Well, that's the other thing. Now,
there's still a lot of things that they haven't officially announced.
My question is, if and when they announce the Kofi and Bryan thing, you have that match right before the main event. What do you put in that position? Because if you put Kofi and Bryan before that, it's going to, blow the women's main event if Kofi wins. Unless you were going to have Daniel Bryan lose, and then people will be like, oh, what? Kofi lost, and then you put Becky over.
You mean, because you just said Daniel Bryan lose. You mean if Kofi loses?
Oh, I meant sorry.
Yeah.
If Kofi loses, then people will go, oh, that's not cool. And then you have to have Becky win after that to bring the crowd back up. But Brock Lesnar, the other thing is they have a big match at the top of every hour.
I suppose you could put the Brock Lesnar Seth on. See, the thing that kills the Brock whole
I think I would like to see the Kofi Bryan thing in the. Unless, plot twist, Kofi doesn't even appear at Mania. Which is also a possibility. They don't even have the match announced yet. All of this is hypothetical.
Yeah, it
if
is.
they announce a match. It'd be likely that they're going to announce a match, but it's also unlikely that they announce a match.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. The
All
thing
hypothetical is what we're saying.
The thing
here.
is with Brock Lesnar, I don't know that there's a big pop there because exactly. I mean, that's the big issue.
Nobody cares.
And so, because they don't use Brock Lesnar, I think that I don't know. Because of the way they use him, I don't like him. I don't like the way they use him.
Oh my gosh!
If they'd use him better,
of Brock
I probably like him
Lesnar, spit everywhere. Paul Heyman. I was listening to Busted Open Radio. Bully Ray, don't come for me, but I'm gonna call you out, man, because this is the dumbest statement I've ever heard in my life. He goes, Brock Lesnar is the best Universal Champion. He is the greatest Universal Champion ever. And I was like, for what? What has he done? And then he goes on to talk about how, like, gasp. Then he goes on to talk about, he was like, well, when he defends his championship, it's like a special attraction because he doesn't defend it all the time. And then he put up the comparison. That's the word I was looking for. The comparison of Ric Flair in the World Heavyweight Championship versus my goodness. Let me learn how to speak. Ric Flair, he was using the comparison of Ric Flair being the World Heavyweight Champion when he was the World Heavyweight Champion. How he defended it every 30 days. But and Dave LaGreca made the point that he also defended it on house shows. But the thing is, Brock Lesnar doesn't even do that.
No, and that's...
Brock Lesnar, yeah, it's so special. Exactly.
Which is why a lot of people don't.
Nobody cares because he's never on TV. He's there every 20 years, and it's not special at all. So I was like, what?
Well, that's
are
why
you even talking about, man?
That's why people don't necessarily like Brock Lesnar. I mean, that's kind of
the
the feeling.
Dumbest
That's
statement
the big reason.
Ever heard in my life?
The big reason I don't like him is because of that. You know?
It was the dumbest statement I'd ever heard in my life, and I was like, what are you talking about? I used to really like you, man, until you said that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what? And then he talked about putting them having to put WWE having to put Ronda Rousey over in the main event, and Becky doesn't win. They put Ronda Rousey over to make her look better, because if she and then turn around Monday Night Raw, she defends the title again and Becky wins the championship on Monday Night Raw. Does that make any sense to you at all?
I don't know. I don't think it makes any difference when she wins it. I mean, I told you.
But having her lose.
Okay, but
wait.
Here's my personal opinion.
Wait. Let me explain this because I didn't really say it right. He said that they would not put Becky over at WrestleMania. They'd put her over on Monday Night Raw and have her win the championship on Raw, because Ronda Rousey would get all butthurt if she lost her championship at WrestleMania, but then the next day, news stations and everything, they picked it up and they talked about, former UFC champion or whatever, MMA champion, lost championship to a pro wrestler at WrestleMania, and it'll be all in the news that she lost her championship. I don't care.
Well, okay, but the thing is...
So they're worried about making Ronda Rousey look bad.
All right, but so what? I mean, the fact is probably...
The thing is, she's already looked bad in the past.
The best wrestler out there, the best wrestler they got, they're not going to give the title to.
No, because nobody wants to see her as a title holder.
Okay, but whether people want to see it or not, it doesn't make any difference. The point I'm making is, if they wanted to give it to someone because of a name and because of they're the best, the one that's not going to win,
Charlotte's not winning.
Is that's what I'm saying. She's the one that deserves it. She's the one that, is kind of the goal, the bar for women's wrestling right now.
And she might be, but that's not who the fans want.
Okay, but the fans want Kofi Kingston to be a champion too. They wanted the title match to already be announced. And is he in yet?
No.
No. So it's not necessarily what the fans want. If it was all about what the fans want, right now the problem is I don't even know what the problem is with WWE right now, because their storylines are not good for the most part. Okay, it's like too predictable on where things are going, and they need to throw a twist in there to, make things a little more interesting.
It should be about what the fans want. Exactly.
No, it shouldn't be about what the fans want, because if it's all about what the fans want, Becky Lynch wins every match because the fans are cheering for Becky Lynch. There's no twist, there's no nothing in there. Becky Lynch wins.
In a big match situation, the issue I have here is this is a big match. This is a big match. Going into it, the fans want to see Becky Lynch come out as the champion. Nobody wants to see Ronda Rousey as the champion anymore. She's held the championship hostage for the last year. And nobody wants to see Charlotte as the champion because nobody likes her. They're rooting for Becky in this situation, so put the belt on Becky.
Okay, they're rooting
do you
for Becky.
Do you want to see happy fans? Do you want to have a good showing of people coming to your events and stuff?
If I was WWE, what I'd want is people to go, what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen on Raw tomorrow? Becky Lynch wins the title. Okay. What are they going to do?
Biggest pop of the century.
For what? I mean, so what? And I would have said that 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, before they killed all of it.
So nobody's gonna remember what happened 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago when she wins the championship.
Well, I remember when Asuka beat her before.
You might, but nobody's gonna remember that when she comes out on top at WrestleMania. When she wins the championship at WrestleMania, nobody is going to remember her losing to Asuka at the Royal Rumble.
I will. And I'll bring it up.
Nobody is going to remember her being taken out and put back in. I will, because it was so depressing.
The thing is, they just need... Because everything is too predictable right now in wrestling. The storylines aren't there, and everybody can sit here and watch. The matches tonight. We knew what was going to happen in them.
Excuse me. Sorry.
The whole Kurt Angle's farewell tour, when they talked about him wrestling Samoa Joe, we knew who was going to win. Was it a shock?
Not really.
Nope.
But I was questioning it, actually, halfway through the match. After Samoa Joe kind of got the upper hand, I was like, is Samoa Joe going to win?
Dean Ambrose?
Or are they going to have Kurt Angle?
The Dean Ambrose-Drew McIntyre match.
I knew who was going to win that.
Was there any question on that?
No.
Nope.
Of course. I mean, I get it.
The Ronda Rousey, the whole thing to start off the show. Was there any doubt who was going to win that?
Well, I wasn't sure if Ronda Rousey was going to win it or if Becky Lynch was.
Was there any doubt who was going to win it?
In my mind, yes, there was. Because I wasn't sure if Becky Lynch was going to win it.
No, there wasn't.
Because I wasn't sure if they were going to put Ronda Rousey over.
You know why? Because they're giving the fans what they want.
Exactly!
The pop.
That's what all this is about.
But they're trying to get more pop. Because
this goes to the Batista thing. Give me what I want. Is that what you want? Give me what I want. What do people want? We want Becky Lynch.
Some people...
The crowd was chanting Becky Lynch before Becky Lynch even got out there.
They were.
They said, we want Becky.
But...
I can agree, okay?
Throw a twist in there.
Part of the problem with wrestling right now, there's no twist. Mind you, real quick, I never mentioned this. There was no limp when she came out. BT dubs. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay.
Because I just thought I'd throw that out there,
All right.
you know.
There's like no twist in any of these matches. There's no twist in wrestling right now. There's no shock value in anything that is happening. None. And
they can always throw a twist in at any time.
When it's... You want to lead up. You want to have things build up in the storyline. And then, and then throw your twist in there. Right now, they haven't built anything up.
They were building up Becky and...
Yeah, on crutches.
Ronda and Charlotte. But...
For like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, she was on crutches. It's tough to build something up when you have one of your participants...
Well, she might have been on crutches. But, the other thing was it a real injury? Was it not?
I don't know, but the fact is
exactly.
If you were
so if she was actually injured, she'd have to come out on crutches. So what can you do?
Don't have her out there.
That's where you got to look at it in two different.
Don't have her out there.
That's where you got to look at it in two different scenarios. They're still trying to put Becky Lynch's face out there, so people still see her.
You could put her out there without having to come out with crutches.
If she's whatever. If she's actually injured and she has to be on crutches, then what are you gonna do? All that attacking people with crutches was part of the build-up. Mr. Gleen.
Whatever. I don't, there was no build-up to it. You knew when she came out with a crutch, you knew what she was doing. She was beating someone with it. There was no shock in that. There was no, oh, wow, I can't believe that just happened. Wow.
I thought it was great. I just sat there and was like, I had a grin on my face. And you might, I don't know, man. I was like sitting there and I was like, that was great.
But you knew.
That was awesome.
You knew
she
what was
just came
coming.
out and freaking beat everybody out upside the head. It was so good. And
okay, but as a wrestling fan, okay, as a wrestling fan, I understand you're a big Becky Lynch fan. I'm talking about as a wrestling fan. It's not about being shocking all the time. You build the storylines up and then you throw some shock out there. They could have kept Becky Lynch off with her knee injury for a couple weeks and brought the story, people would be going, okay, I want to see this. I want to see her. I'm ready for her to come back. And then have her come back without crutches, have her show up, and she's ready to go.
When she threw the crutches away 2 weeks ago, people went bananas. They went bananas. You make it sound like all.
No, I don't want to just be shocked. I want storylines. And right now there's no storylines.
Which isn't practical.
I want a storyline. I want a build-up of a storyline.
I get it that you want storylines, and I understand that. But they did give us a storyline. That's the thing. It was the storyline. It wasn't a storyline that people liked. That's the issue.
Tell me that
it wasn't a storyline that people liked. That's the issue. So it was a storyline.
So you tell me that we couldn't predict probably 90% of the matches that are going to take place.
I'm not. Where?
Anywhere.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you could.
If I can sit there and tell you what's going to happen in 90% of the matches.
The Becky injury. I can't speak.
If I can tell you.
The Becky injury was totally a storyline.
Yeah. If I can sit here and tell you what's going to happen, why sit there and watch it? This is where you've lost a lot of the wrestling fans. Because there's no storyline building up to anything. This thing with, Dean Ambrose and Drew McIntyre. Why are we building that up like this?
Like I said, I think they're trying to still get Dean Ambrose on TV. Because they don't want to start a storyline with him, with anybody else, because he's leaving. And they still want to get his face out there just because he's Dean Ambrose and he draws people in. So that's where what I see them doing with that.
Okay. The Kurt Angle thing. He's not losing again.
No.
Until he might lose at WrestleMania. But outside of that,
fans are lost. That's why everyone is talking on Twitter and retweeting. Yes, Twitter is a big part of this.
Twitter, it is a big part.
Twitter,
but there's a lot of fans. If you check Twitter,
stuff goes down on Twitter.
You check Twitter. There's a lot of fans that don't like the way the storylines are created,
and I understand that.
They don't like the way that any of it is going. You're gonna have wrestling fans that are gonna talk about wrestling anyway, and you're gonna have that. But the problem is you have fans that are kind of turned off by the fact that there are no storylines. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I could miss Raw next week, right? I could just about tell you what's going to happen. Right?
You could, yeah.
Because right now they're too predictable. And you see the same matches week in and week out. So what, as a fan, Why do you need to watch every week?
I don't know. Because you want to watch it.
Okay, but have storylines. I mean, if there's no storylines, there's nothing to it. It's like if you go watch a show.
Maybe they're saving the big surprises upcoming at Mania.
That's possible. But you would think even leading up to some of this, you would think that you would have big storylines going on leading up to this. And, I said it, like, even the Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey thing, you lost some of the pop with playing out this Ronda, or playing out the Becky Lynch injury for, like, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks? 6 weeks? However long it was that she was on crutches. And I think you would have been better off pulling her off and out and away from everything and then bringing her back. I think if you would have held her out and, brought her back this week and had them do the match they did tonight, there would have been a huge pop. But the way they did it, the way they drug everything out, I don't think that you had the pop that you would have had if you had just done it the right way. That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is that if Becky Lynch does not come out as Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania, I might literally cry. Like, not even joking. Like, I cried when she was pulled from the match. Okay. That's how emotionally invested I'm into this.
You are, but you're a Becky Lynch fan.
Exactly.
I'm not just talking about Becky Lynch.
No,
I'm talking about all these other storylines.
That's the thing. There are people that are like me, that are such big Becky Lynch fans, that they want to see Becky Lynch come out on top. So they're emotionally invested into it.
Okay.
There are fans that are emotionally invested in Charlotte. There are fans that are emotionally, probably not many, that are emotionally invested in Ronda Rousey. So you're going to have those people who are emotionally invested in that because that particular person is in the match. It's no different than me going out saying, I love Seth Rollins. So I am emotionally invested in the Brock Lesnar-Seth Rollins match, whether it's a trash match or not. You're going to think it's great because Seth Rollins was in it. There are people out there that are like that.
I don't know. I just, even if it's one of my favorite wrestlers, if the match is crap, it just doesn't mean anything. Or if the storyline they're involved in is crap, I'm going, why? This is dumb.
But
why do this?
It might. The match might be trash. The storyline might be trash. But if you are that big of a fan of that person, you're not going to care.
You became a fan of that person for a reason.
I became a fan of Becky Lynch because she's the man. I'm the man.
That's what I'm saying. That there was a reason that you started to like her. It wasn't just because, they just put her out there and you went, there she is, Becky Lynch. I'm a big Becky Lynch fan.
I don't know. I think part of it, I don't know, man. I like her gimmick. I think it's cool. I think it's relatable for a lot of people. The man gimmick.
Well, it is, but that's what I'm saying.
That's where that kind of drawed you in there. But now that you're drawn in, you want to see her in matches. It doesn't matter what it is. You want to see her in it. That's the point I'm trying to get across here. I'm emotionally invested in it because I'm a Becky Lynch fan. Okay,
well then you could just throw Becky Lynch into any match. And
exactly.
Go, wow, that's exactly. So it doesn't matter whether there's a storyline there.
There are people out there that are like me.
That's what I'm saying.
That are emotionally invested in whatever character that is. And so they want to see them in any match in whatever way. They don't care what it is. They want to see her in a match. So, I mean...
Part of what makes wrestling interesting is the storylines.
I will agree. And I think their storylines are very lacking.
It's not about being a fair weather fan. I'm a wrestling fan. And,
I was missing the chat because I'm ranting about Becky Lynch.
The issue I have is It's not just
Or
about
because
Becky
he
Lynch,
loved
though.
to
It's
hate it.
about anything.
I agree with Maven,
about
otherwise that's why it's called being fair weather fan. A fair
weather fan.
Oh, got it. I read it all weird. A fair weather fan.
No, the issue you have is there's no story. The storylines are not good right now.
And I'm agreeing with you on that. I'm not saying the storylines are great. But I'm saying that if I'm a huge Becky Lynch fan, I want to go and see Becky Lynch in that match. So maybe I don't care about the storyline. I want to see Becky Lynch wrestle.
Okay.
Maybe I don't care about the storyline. I just want to see Charlotte Flair wrestle.
Okay, then you're
Same
not...
thing goes for Ronda Rousey.
So in other words, you are a fan of that person and not a fan of wrestling.
I can still be a fan of wrestling and a fan of that person. All in one.
So all you're saying is if we put Becky Lynch against Ruby Riott every week, you'd be going, let's see that match again. I'm all for that because Becky Lynch is in it. Let's do it. For the next 52 weeks, let's have Becky Lynch versus Ruby Riott.
All right.
On Raw.
Okay.
Oh, and wait. Then we have 12 pay-per-views. Becky Lynch versus Ruby Riott. We're going to have Becky Lynch versus Ruby Riott for
Not where I was going with
64
that,
times during the year.
Okay.
Right?
Sure. I mean, I was
And
going...
Becky Lynch is in the match. That's all that's important.
Unless you're a writer for WWE, you have no control over stories. Just enjoy the ride, Mr. Gleen, and don't overanalyze everything.
No, I don't have control over the stories.
Agreed.
But part of the issues right now that what they have with people watching and attendance and people
so
not
sorry.
being interested is because of the storylines.
And I get that.
And people need to
But
talk
like
about
I
the story,
said-
or the lack of storylines.
Like I said, there are people out there who want to watch whatever it is because a specific person is in it.
Maybe you can keep calling yourself a wrestling fan. I don't know. I just think that you have to have the storylines to go
Thanks,
with it.
Bendy.
And that's, storylines have always been a part of wrestling. And in order to keep wrestling, people interested in wrestling, you have to have the storylines. I don't care if you like somebody.
All right. So I've been throwing out the Becky Lynch comparison here.
See, I grew up here. I'll tell you. I grew up watching like the Road Warriors and Hulk Hogan and people like that, and there were storylines that were created. Okay, they didn't fight the same people every week. Now the problem with what I grew up watching are apart. You just said it yourself. They're not everything. It's a huge part of it. A huge part of it is the storyline. I didn't like watching Hulk Hogan. If Hulk Hogan was going to wrestle the Iron Sheik every week, I'd be going, well, what's the point? This is going over and over and over and over again. Put him in against, create a storyline in there. Maybe he gets beat. And all I'm saying is the storylines right now are non-existent. In a lot of cases.
I'm going through Twitter real quick, and someone I follow, they retweeted this tweet. And it said, "For me, Becky Lynch is the only woman who has truly made this the WrestleMania main event. If it had been Charlotte versus Ronda, then you could have said that the women are main eventing just for PR reasons. Not as many people would care about this if it weren't for Becky."
Well, Becky got a big...
Oh, wait. Okay, it was announced. I shall check Twitter more. The Bayley and Sasha versus Nia and Tamina versus the Iconics versus the Divas of Doom has been announced. It is happening. It is an actual match. So there is another match announced for WrestleMania. I have the photographic evidence. Oh my gosh, so much line. You see it? Photographic evidence.
Yeah, so I mean, but that's a match we just said that was probably going to be announced, and it's not surprising that it was. It just finally got officially put out there.
Yes.
So, it's not something that we were, shocked by.
Yeah, I'm really not shocked by that because I knew that was coming.
Oh, and by the way. Someone's got a video on Twitter talking about Elias, and he was supposed to be in New York, and they must have like pre-shot the stuff in New York because he came out at the end of when Drew McIntyre walked back to the dressing rooms. Elias comes out and is playing his guitar at the end. So
that's funny. Oh, Elias. Elias is funny. He makes me laugh.
I don't know. I just, I think you need to have storylines to keep people interested in the wrestling. And sometimes I think that right now they don't have the storylines to keep people interested.
I get that.
And so
I understand that.
I enjoy wrestling anyway. But I just like it better when there's storylines that keep your interest and there's twists and turns in it to make you question things.
Becky has been shut down so many times trying to get there. She's the women's version of Kofi, and people love underdog scenarios.
They do love underdogs.
That is what I said 2 weeks ago.
They like
I started throwing that out there 2 weeks ago.
But again, look what they've done.
Becky has to win. This is back at Fastlane. I said Becky has to win this match because she has to go on to WrestleMania to then beat Ronda Rousey and prove everyone who has put her down, shut her down, slammed the door on her.
Okay, but think about this.
Over the last couple of weeks.
What have they done with...
She has to go to Mania.
Okay.
And beat them. To show them...
so what have they done with the big fan favorite in the women's division and the big fan favorite in the men's division?
They have not given either of them.
They followed the exact same storylines.
Mm-hmm.
So why, nobody's going, wow, that was kind of a twist. I didn't expect that to happen. They followed the exact same storylines.
Yeah.
Haven't they?
Yes.
There's
slightly different things.
Slightly different, but the thing with Kofi, before they announced the gauntlet match, what did I tell you?
You said he wasn't going to win.
No, I said what I tell you he was going to be in.
No, you said he was going to win, but then there was I don't know.
I told you he was going to be in a gauntlet match, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
You go back, I think I tweeted it out before it even happened.
Yeah, you did.
I said the big announcement is he's going to be in a gauntlet match. And what happened? He was in a gauntlet match.
Yeah.
So, they need to create something that people can't sit there and guess easily what's going to happen.
Oh, also, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre is official. They do have a poster thingy for it. Again. Shiny. There you go. So that is official.
Yes.
That wasn't just all talk.
Officially official.
Okay, so one other thing that has nothing to do with the women's division at all, that I don't like and I don't understand, is Mustafa Ali's name. They have dropped Mustafa, and he's now just Ali. He changed his Twitter and everything.
Yeah, I saw that. What's the point of that?
I don't know. And then somebody put out a tweet, and I thought this was hilarious. They go, so now, next week, we're going to come back, and Aleister Black is no longer going to be Aleister Black.
He's going to be black.
He's going to be black. And Ricochet is just going to be Rico. Shay is going to be dropped.
Yeah, I don't know.
And,
I don't understand the point of it.
EC3 is going to be E. And there were a whole bunch of them on Twitter of, just photos of different wrestlers. And they're like, all right, well, they're doing this with Ali, so they're just going to drop everybody's names. And Sasha Banks is going to become Sasha. And, Bayley's going to become B. And,
The point,
I don't get it. I don't understand it. I like Mustafa Ali better. It just sounds better.
I wish they would, give a reason as to why they did it.
Probably just due to the fact that they wanted to shorten the name.
But the Mustafa Ali kind of has it's kind of a cool name.
And see, he made a tweet.
Oh, here comes Ali.
I
like Mustafa Ali better.
He made a tweet. He put a tweet out talking about what the beginning of his first name meant. I didn't get a chance to Ooh, Shay is nice.
Yes.
Much better than Rico. Rico Shay. Just imagine them doing that, coming back next week, and is like, all right, and next we have the tag team of Black and Shay.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He put up a tweet like talking about the meaning of his name and why.
Or they could say Rico Black.
Rico Black. He put up a tweet talking about what his name meant and why he picked it. I didn't get a chance to read through it. I was just scrolling through Twitter. And so, you know, like, it had meaning behind it. And so to me, it's like, why do that? Yeah, if you picked a name that actually meant something, like, leave it as is.
Yeah.
Leave it as is.
I agree.
And that's what people talked about when they talked about moving Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa up. Was, are they just going to shorten it to Gargano and Ciampa? And just take out Johnny and Tommaso?
Or Johnny Wrestling.
Or Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, so I don't know.
I don't know. I think that
I think that's it. I think there was something else I was going to talk about, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
What it... Oh. So I listened to the Chasing Glory podcast with Dana Brooke. And Dana Brooke, she hyperextended her left elbow. And she tore a ligament in her arm. By the way, for anybody wondering. We talked about this last week, I think, when she got ripped apart.
Yeah.
She
was actually hurt.
Yeah, she actually got hurt.
Yeah.
She tore a ligament, and she hyperextended her arm. So she will be out for a little bit.
Yeah, probably, 3, 4, 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm. She might miss WrestleMania.
Probably.
Which sucks.
Definitely.
But we still have the women's battle royal that hasn't been announced yet. How many matches are we up to?
I don't know. Several.
I don't know.
We can get a count and figure it out, and
I'll put that up on Twitter.
Share everybody tomorrow everybody tomorrow.
I'll also put it up on Twitter. So follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, follow her on Twitter, Maven Gleen.
Because I'm gonna figure that out.
You can follow me at Mr. Gleen. Mr._Gleen, sorry.
I mean, come on. We gotta be getting close to 15, 16 matches, right?
And then you can follow us at the Wrestle Story on Twitter. Yeah, probably getting close to that.
Because there were 17 matches was what was going to be announced.
Yeah.
But, we've had extra matches and stuff added, so
yep.
I don't know. We still have the two tag team matches, and we now have Sasha, Bayley versus the other 3 teams announced. So it's really just the tag team matches that we have left, and then all the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal competitors, and then the Women's Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Smackdown Women's Championship, which will be decided tomorrow.
We can make a list of stuff.
On Smackdown.
Make a list of matches.
Mandy Rose versus Sonya Deville versus Carmella versus Naomi.
Yeah.
And whoever wins that becomes the #1 contender and will face Asuka at WrestleMania. Sonya Deville is my pick.
Yeah, mine too.
Or Naomi. One of the two.
Naomi hasn't done a lot, so probably Sonya Deville.
Probably Sonya Deville, but I think close second would be Naomi. If they put Mandy Rose over, I'm just going to be like, I won't care.
We are going to end our stream. We'll be back again tomorrow.
Today was a long one.
Yeah, a reminder, which is surprising because, we really, I don't know, I didn't feel like there was a lot to talk about. Because
we went on and on about the storylines.
Yeah, create storylines, WWE. That people go,
Becky
wow,
Lynch.
I wasn't expecting that.
Becky Lynch and storylines. That's what we went on and on about for
reminder,
probably
we
20 minutes.
Stream every Monday after Raw, every Tuesday after Smackdown, every Wednesday after NXT. We also stream after every pay-per-view. We also stream right before a pay-per-view where we give you our predictions on what we think will happen at the pay-per-view.
This week we will
have SmackDown and stream before NXT TakeOver.
Yeah, this week we have SmackDown and NXT to get through. And then next week is a crazy week. We have Monday, Raw, Tuesday, SmackDown, Wednesday, NXT. Thursday, we will do our prediction stream, I believe. And then Friday, we have TakeOver. Saturday is Hall of Fame. And Sunday is WrestleMania. So you might get to see a full week of us.
Oh, yes. Don't get too excited.
Don't get too excited. You get to see us every day next week. Woohoo! And our prediction stream next week will be everything. It'll be TakeOver and WrestleMania predictions all in one. It'll probably be a long stream just because there's a lot of matches.
Yeah, it could be.
I can't believe TakeOver is next week. I feel like there aren't that many matches on TakeOver.
I know. Look, Bendy's pretty excited.
I know. We got like the NXT Women's Championship, the North American, the NXT title.
Some stuff coming up.
I don't even know what else is on there. I feel like it's just a small card compared to WrestleMania.
Yeah. A week of the Wrestle Story, yes.
Woohoo!
Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell thing, and so you know when we'll be on.
Yeah, Bendy fireworks!
Give us a like. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
you can always find us on Twitter.
You can find us on Twitter. You can post in the comment section, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.
Already done.
Thanks,
Bendy. You're cool.
Yes. Thanks, Bendy. We will respond to any communication that you have with us as, when we see it and when we have a chance to respond to it.
I'm on Twitter all the time during the day, so.
Yeah. With that,
still made that go.
We will see you later. Peace out.